Welcome back to Clean with Kate, and now we're on day 27 of the Flylady 31 baby steps. We're nearly there, can you believe it? We've been doing this now for 27 whole days. So well done if you've been doing it along with me. If you've just joined in, just jump in where we are or go back to baby step 1 and work your way through them. Best way I find to do this is work your way through them one day at a time. When I first started Flylady, I tried to work my way through all the 31 baby steps in a couple of days, but actually that was incredibly hard work, and I don't think that it really got ingrained. Whereas because I've been doing Flylady now for 25 years, so I have actually done the baby steps several times, but this time I'm really taking a day for each step, and it's really making a difference. So if you'd like to join me, that would be lovely. Anyway, baby step day 27 is a nice, easy one. It's something we've touched on already. It's what's for dinner. What's for dinner? So what we're going to be talking about is menu planning and grocery shopping. Because obviously you have to know what you're going to cook, but you also have to have the ingredients in to actually be able to cook it. So baby step day 27. I'm going to read you what Flylady says about it. She says, today, think about what you are fixing for dinner before 6 p.m. rolls around. You can do it as part of your before bed routine the night before, or part of your morning routine for today. Write this in your control journal. I've actually added this to my control journal. Let me just get the page. I've actually added it to my afternoon routine, what's for dinner, because I don't usually decide what we're going to have until sort of afternoon, but I do menu plans, so I know what we've all got, all the food in for the week that we're going to cook, and I know what we're going to eat. But I'd sometimes like to just decide on the day which of the menus I'm actually going to cook, depending on how the day's gone and how tired we are, and just what we feel like eating. So we don't stick to our menu plan rigidly, but we know what we're eating that week, and we tend to mix it up a little bit. And what else does Flylady says? Lots of stress is relieved by just knowing what's for dinner. That is so true. I do remember when my children were little and I was working outside the home, that I would quite often be finishing work at sort of 5 o'clock, 5:30. I would be driving home past a co-op. I would be going into that co-op and I would be buying pasta and white sauce and garlic bread, because I knew that that was really quick and easy and I could whack it in the oven. And it was just because I hadn't got myself organised. This was pre-Flylady days. And since I'd been doing Flylady, I didn't have to do that very often. Occasionally, I would still have a tired day where I'd be like, oh my goodness, I haven't got organised dinner, or I've forgotten to make something, or I've forgotten to get something out of the freezer. And one of the things that I found really helpful when I was working outside the home was my slow cooker. What I would do is I would do my menu plans, and then I would plan for a lot of slow cooker meals. I love a slow cooker. Now I don't need to use my slow cooker because I've got an Argo, and an Argo is a very good slow cooker. But for years I didn't have an Argo, and I used a slow cooker for about 12 years, I think, when the children were little. But it's really good for things like, so you start things off on your hob, so things like bolognese or casseroles. I used to have a lot of casseroles that I made. Particularly beef casserole. I absolutely love beef casserole, lamb tagine, things like that. You start them off on the hob. You fry off the meat and the onions and the vegetables, and then you put them in your slow cooker with stock, and then you just leave them, and they cook all day while you're out at work. And then when you come in the evening, you come in to the aroma of lovely home-cooked meal, and then you just need to serve it with either bread or rice or some sort of carbohydrate and vegetables, and it's just really easy. I bought an extra large slow cooker because I was cooking for 3 children plus myself and my husband, and quite often we did have extra people there. My daughter nearly always had a friend in tow. For years and years we had another extra child in the house, and we also had grandparents locally. So I did have to cook usually for 6 or 7 people on a regular occasion. So I used to have the really large slow cooker, which meant we had plenty to go around. There wasn't any shortage of food. And usually what happened, because I cooked in bulk, then what would we do with the leftovers? I would plate it up into a microwave bowl, like a serving dish, that you would eat it out of. And then I would cling film it, and that would be my lunch for the next day that I would take to work. And my husband also had his lunch for the next day. So it worked really well. Menu planning, it's just such a good thing to do. It saves you money, you eat healthily, and you eat home-cooked food, and you feel good I used to feel really good when I put the stuff in the slow cooker first thing in the morning before I went to work. I'd feel good knowing that I'd done that, and that my kids were going to have a nice home-cooked meal when I came in. And on the days when I didn't manage to do it, if I was rushing or something happened, as life does, then they still got the pasta and the garlic bread and the sauce from the co-op. But you know what? They actually, luckily, they loved that meal. They regarded that meal as a treat, or sometimes pizza. But this meant that we weren't doing that nearly as often because of the menu planning. The menu planning was a real blessing to our family. So I would highly recommend starting menu planning and thinking about what's for dinner in the morning or at least in the afternoon, so you've got time to pop to the supermarket if you haven't got the food in to cook, or you've got time to get stuff out of the freezer and it'll defrost in time. And it's really important when you're cooking to always defrost that food thoroughly, particularly chicken. Chicken is responsible for so much food poisoning. In fact, so much so that I don't cook with chicken very often because of that. I just feel it's a high risk meat. Anyway, what else does she say? Sorry about that, my washing machine is going in the background because I've got 2 loads of laundry on this morning because it's a lovely sunny day. I'm making the most of it and getting the laundry on. Anyway, let's go back to this. If you're having trouble with your menu planning, check out our website. So there's a tip. If you go onto the Flylady website and see what she says about menu planning. Anyway, I'm just going to run through what you should be doing each day. Apologies for the noisy washing machine. Hopefully it will stop spinning soon. Maybe I'll pause while it finishes. Oh, thank goodness for that. It stopped spinning. While it was spinning, I went round with my duster and dusted my utility room. Anyway, we're back with, oh, now it's going to beep at me, isn't it? Oh my goodness, I have to pause again. We're back with menu planning. I'll give you some tips for menu planning. I'm just going to run through the baby steps of what you should be doing today. So the morning routine is get up and make your bed, get dressed to lace up shoes, hair and face, do your hair and face, swish and swipe your bathroom, recognise negative voices and change them, reboot your laundry, what's for dinner, put out your hotspots for 2 minutes, do a 5-minute room rescue, pick any room, set your timer, work for 5 minutes and then stop, get on with your morning routine. Spend 15 minutes decluttering each day because you can't organise clutter. This morning I've been decluttering again in my attic rooms, and I've got 5 old cushions that I don't know why I'd kept them. They're incredibly scruffy. And also I found a duvet cover that I don't even know where it came from. I think it may have belonged to the previous owners of the house, and a sheet. And again, I have no idea where that came from. So I've been finding lots of things in my attic rooms. What else? Look at your control journal and your post-it notes to remind you. Read the Flylady emails if you've subscribed as a reward for doing your morning routines, and then delete them. Afternoon routine, eat lunch and drink your water. I've actually put on my afternoon routine, eat a healthy lunch, because I'm trying to get more vegetables into my day. So I'm trying to get vegetables into my lunch because it's often very easy just to eat a sandwich at lunchtime and not eat any vegetables. But I'm trying to make it a big effort to get more veg into my diet. I've actually written what's for dinner on the afternoon routine as well, because I like to decide in the afternoon. And Flylady's written start dinner and remember the side dishes. We tend to do that as part of our sort of more evening-y routine because we eat probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And most of the meals that we eat don't take that long to cook. And before bed routine, which I've kind of renamed to evening routine because that works better for me. I have an evening routine and then I have a before bed routine. So Flylady says your before bed routine, keep your sink shining, lay out your clothes for tomorrow, put in a load of laundry, check your calendar for tomorrow's dinner. I tend to put my laundry in the morning, as I've discussed before, but I do like to run the dishwasher as part of my evening routine. And I do check the calendar for tomorrow's appointments. She also says, check your calendar for tomorrow's dinner. So if you put your menu plan on your calendar, it will prompt you, oh, do I need to get anything out of the freezer, or do I need to buy any ingredients? Put out a hotspot, look at your control journal checklist to make sure you've done everything, and then time for bed, consider yourself tucked in. So that's what we're working on at the moment. That's the baby steps. So she's given a tip as well. She said, just knowing what is for dinner relieves the guilt of ordering pizza again. Golly, I remember that guilt. My kids didn't see it as a bad thing. They loved pizza, but I did. I used to buy a bagged salad with it, so I felt that at least they were getting some vegetables. I'm not sure how much of the salad they ate. It was probably me and my husband that ate the salad, but it helped to alleviate my guilt at getting co-op pizza yet again. And she says, this will save you a lot of money too. That's very true. When you run, I don't know about you, but when I run into a supermarket in a sort of panic buying, I impulse buy things, and those ready-made pizzas in the supermarkets, they are delicious, but they're not cheap, are they? And they are just cheese on toast after all, with a few vegetables thrown in if you're lucky. And I always ended up buying a pudding, so I'd always buy something like a tiramisu because we were having an Italian night, and I'd rarely come out of that supermarket having spent less than £20, and then I may impulse buy while I was in there. May think, oh, let's get a bottle of wine or something to go with it, because that would be nice. But I'd always spend more than I planned. It's very rare that I would not impulse buy something. So menu planning definitely saves you money, because pizza isn't cheap and ready meals aren't cheap. You're paying a lot of money usually, much more than you would if you cooked it at home. With a little planning, you could use anti-procrastination day to plan your meals. And actually, if you're having trouble getting started with meal planning, set a timer. So say, I'm going to set a timer once a week. I pick a day. Usually, I usually do my menu planning on a Tuesday or Wednesday, because in Flylady world, Tuesday's plan and play day, and Wednesday's anti-procrastination task day. So if I haven't done it on a Tuesday, I'll usually do it on the Wednesday. Set your timer for 15 minutes, or even just 5 minutes if you feel 15 is too long, and say, I'm going to menu plan, and sit down with either a notebook or your calendar. It's simplest ways to do it on your calendar, your written calendar, and do your menu planning. And that's just a really quick and easy way to do it. I've talked before about menu planning, but the way I did it when the children were little was I wrote them out what we ate each day on the calendar, and I did that for about 6 weeks. And then by the end of 6 weeks, my calendar was the menu plan, and I just copied it forward and wrote it into a little notebook, and then kept recycling that weekly menu over a 6-week cycle, and that worked really well for me. But now I get a menu box delivered. I've been doing that for about 5 years now, and it makes it so easy. I can highly recommend them. Everyone in our family is on board now, just about. My two of my adult children, one of them put us onto it, and then we've done HelloFresh. We're now on Green Chef. I think she's on HelloFresh at the moment, and my son is on Gusto. So we're definitely a menu box family. We love to know what's for dinner, and the menus are good. I think all of these companies have a really good selection of meals that you can choose from. It's just a matter of trying them and seeing which one you prefer. Anyway, if you have any questions about menu planning or meal delivery boxes, I'm happy to answer them. Just pop them in the comments. All right, what else does she say on here? Let's have a look. With a little planning on Wednesday, you'll have menus in the grocery list for next week. Oh, that is the other thing. You need to set a time aside to actually, if you're not having a menu box delivered, to actually go and buy the ingredients. Because you can do all the menu planning in the world, but if you haven't got the ingredients to cook the recipes, I've been there, then you won't actually be able to deliver the meals. So set aside time either to go grocery shopping. When I had young children, I could not go shopping with the children. I just couldn't. It was a nightmare. I was one of those mums with the trolley full of groceries and the screaming toddler. We've been there, well, lots of us have been there. So I used to wait till my husband came in from work, and I would go on my own. And I regarded it as self-care, that the luxury, particularly when I had a baby, a toddler, and a sort of 4-year-old, the luxury of being able to go shopping on my own and concentrate and not have to referee or appease a tantruming toddler or walk out of the shop with a tantruming toddler. It was such a luxury. So I actually made it part of my self-care, and I'd go in an evening. I'd pick a quiet time. I think if you go about 7 o'clock in the evening, most supermarkets are deserted. It's a lovely time to go shopping. And I could take as long as I wanted. I think sometimes I'd take an hour to go, and it wasn't even a big supermarket. It was just a nice local co-op. And it was such a luxury to be able to go around on my own and just take the time to buy the groceries that we needed and have a bit of me time. Anyway, that's my tip. If you've got young children, do it in the evenings. But if you're really busy and you're pushed for time, the other great way to do it is do an online shop. I love doing an online grocery shop. And I did do that when I was working outside the home. I did that for quite a while, because just the sheer convenience. You can do it in the evenings, sat in front of the television. And also what I would do is I do what I thought we needed. And then I'd take my my laptop, you may do it on your phone now, in those days I don't think you could do it on your phone, and I would go round my hat into my pantries and just see, have I actually got that, or do I need it? And it was amazing. It used to save me so much money by doing it online, because you don't impulse buy, and you can literally go around your house and say, well, actually, do I need 6 cans of tomatoes? We ate a lot of bolognese. Oh, do I need to buy this? Do I need toilet rolls? Do I need toothpaste? And then you can take stuff out of the basket that you've already got. So it was a really good discipline for me to just buy what we actually needed. I'd always find, by the time I'd done the whole online shop, I thought, oh my goodness, how did I manage to spend so much? But by the time I went round the house seeing, well, do we actually need that? Because it saves your favourites, and you can add all your favourites to basket. I quite often find, well, actually, we don't need that. So actually it would reduce how much I purchased, which was a good discipline for me. Right, is there anything else to say about groceries? Oh, I love this. Flylady's put a little thing at the bottom of the page, and it says, just a note, fly babies should never cook on high. Flylady. I think I might write that in my inspirational quotes, and that's so true, isn't it? The other thing I would say is fly babies should never cook without a timer. And in fact, when I'm cooking, I set multiple timers. I set a timer on my watch. I set a timer on my, I don't know what, I'm not going to say her name because she'll trigger yours, but I think you know what I mean. That thing that you can ask to set a timer. I set timers in every room. If I'm cooking something, I don't want to forget about it. That's why slow cookers are good. They're really forgiving. The other thing I used to use when the children were little, when I had to go to do a school pickup, I wanted the food to be ready when I got in, and I used a steamer that was on a timer. And so the steamer was fantastic. I probably used that for about 10 years when the kids were little and I had to do a school pickup. So you'd set your vegetables on in the steamer, and then you'd set the timer on it, and it would switch itself. It either switched itself, I think it either switched itself on or it switched itself off. I think it actually switched itself off, which meant that it didn't overcook your vegetables. So when you got in from school pickup or wherever you'd been, if you'd been to something like swimming lessons, the vegetables were cooked, but they weren't overcooked. And if I'd cooked in the slow cooker, it meant the meal was ready as soon as we got in. Because I don't know about you, but my children were always ravenously hungry when they came in from school. Or if they'd been something like swimming, they were absolutely starving. And usually I'd have had to give them a snack before they went swimming. And they would just want to eat as soon as they got in. And if you didn't get the food into them fairly quickly, they kind of went off. They'd either get too tired to eat, or they get really grumpy. So for me, when the children were young, it was really important to feed them quite early. And I had to be really, really organised to make sure they did get a reasonably healthy diet. So they would be my tips for cooking. Never cook on high. I would agree with her on that. And certainly don't go off and leave stuff frying or leave the kettle boiling. Oh my goodness, the number of times I've left my kettle boiling and then come back to find it's whistling away. Luckily I've got a whistle on my kettle and I'd forgotten about it. Yes. Yeah, and don't leave eggs boiling on the hob. Oh my goodness, that's the other one, isn't it? Stay with the eggs. If you're boiling eggs, stay with them. Set a timer, set multiple timers. That's the wonderful thing about cooking on an Arga. You bring things to the boil and then you stick them in what's called a simmering oven, which is a little bit like a steamer. And it's very hard, very difficult to overcook things. Not impossible, but it is quite difficult to overcook things in there. Anyway, any questions at all, pop them in comments. I hope you're enjoying the baby steps videos and that you found the meal planning and the what's for dinner one helpful, and that I'm inspiring you to get your menu planning done. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Please like, comment and subscribe. It's really appreciated. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.